All right, good morning, sophomores. So you might have seen last night I posted a calendar for the TED Talk that we're going to do moving forward. So if you haven't heard already, school is canceled through at least April 10th. So we're going to forge ahead with the TED Talk. So I have a few updates to give you guys. First off, you really need to stay on top of things. For Friday, tomorrow, you have your ACT reading test due and your ACT essay due. You really need to get those into me because the essay is where I'm going to sort of give you feedback on your understanding of writing arguments. So it really does feed in well to the TED Talk. If you don't do that, I can't give you feedback to help you with the TED Talk. So make sure you guys get that in. I'm going to grade those in a timely manner. Second thing to get in after your ACT stuff, get your TED Talk topics up. Those are easy to do. They just have to be things you guys are interested in. You can peruse what your classmates have said so far to get some ideas. You don't have to know for sure with that topic, but when you're doing the TED Talk proposal, which is your assignment that I'm going to explain in a few minutes, you need to have thought about what you want to do. And it's a lot more helpful if I can give you feedback first before you think up a huge proposal. Okay. Next thing I want to talk about. I'm going to make a community discussion board on the top of the Google Classroom window. Just a sec. My dog's being a little jerk. Yeah, so community discussion board. I'm just going to put this at the top of the classroom page, and I want you guys to post on it anything you want. We're doing distance learning, but I still want us to feel like a classroom and like we're connected. And a huge part of that is being able to talk about things that you want, because I miss all the super weird things you guys say in class. So you can post pictures of dogs, you can post appropriate jokes that you hear, whatever. Ask each other questions. Keep us up to date on what you're doing. But I'm going to get that started. So please post. I want us to feel connected. Third thing I'm going to do is explain the TED Talk proposal. So this is on Classroom. This is your first assignment due. With the TED Talk, I'm going to scaffold it. So we're going to do the TED Talk proposal. You're going to find your sources. I'm going to teach you how to do an annotated bibliography, and you're going to write your TED Talk. So if you guys stay on track, I will get you feedback each step of the way, and it'll be a lot easier for you. Otherwise, it'll get more difficult. And it's not, I'm spreading it out because I know you guys are at home, and I don't expect you to do as much English as you would do if you were actually in school, which is like an hour a day. You don't have to do that much, but you need to stay on top of the deadlines if you want this to go as smoothly as possible. Okay, so the TED Talk proposal. I want you guys to open this up, maybe even as you're listening to my voice right now, and you'll see at the top it says TED Talk topic proposal, TED Talk proposal due Tuesday, 3:31 by noon. This allows me to grade them Tuesday, get them back to you sometime on Wednesday, and also if there's a problem or I'm like, you're not on track, or you know you're not on track and you need help, Birdie, good Lord, dog, I can give you guys feedback. My dog's trying to squish through a very small crack. Birdie! Look, Birdie! These are the people you're disrupting. Go scram. But anyway, there are two examples here. Directions. Fill out the following proposal before you dive headfirst into your TED Talk. Two examples are included below. Okay. I had to give the dog a peanut butter Kong. Okay, so there are two examples on there. First example. You guys have thought of these broad topics. So things like, I'm trying to remember them, like suicide rates in Montana, depression, anxiety, coronavirus, would be a really timely one to research. But if you're doing that, make sure your research is sort of up to date, which can be really hard. So it might be something that you can definitely write about it, but make sure you narrow your topic and you need to make a commitment if you choose that to stay up to date with new research coming out and add that into your paper as it comes. So the first example, you guys have thought of some broad topics. This broad topic, adoption. There's a ton of stuff that goes with adoption. You're not just going to write a short paper on the broad topic of adoption and make a really convincing argument, because it's going to be too broad, right? You need specifics. So if you're like, I think I want to write about adoption. You can see in the second tier down how I've narrowed it. And I've said this to a lot of you, narrow this, make it more specific. That's a great start, but you need to get it down to a more specific topic that's more relevant to the scope you guys are writing about. You're not writing a huge research paper. You're writing probably 600, 800 words on a specific topic. So this narrow topic, same-sex parents adopting in Montana. So you can see how it went big, adoption, right? And then they've narrowed it. What kind of parents? Where is this at? Because adoption laws are going to vary from state to state. So narrow. The third thing is questions to answer. So these are questions you might have an idea on some of the answers, but also questions you think, okay, this is what I anticipate learning about. I think I need to know this before I can make a convincing argument on it. So the questions I have to answer if I'm going to write about same-sex adoption in Montana. How much of a need for adoptive parents is there in Montana? Because if there's more of a need, it would stand to reason that we shouldn't be limiting who can adopt children, right? I need to find that out. What are the laws on adoption in Montana? Like, are same-sex parents allowed to adopt right now? What are other adoption restrictions? So do you have to have a certain income? I don't know anything about it. I want to learn about that. And I need to learn about that to stay informed about what I'm writing about. Another question, what are the laws on same-sex parent adoption in Montana? And then another question, what are the counter arguments against same-sex parenting that I'll need to address? So this is really important, questions to answer. I want you guys to get specific. If you do not come up with some good questions or things you anticipate learning about and really show me that you're thinking about this, I'm going to turn this back to you and make you do it again before I let you move on. I really want you guys to follow the steps on this because especially in today's sort of political and media environment, it's really easy to make bad arguments. So you guys aren't going to do that. And then the fourth thing, you've got your broad topic, you've got your narrow topic, you've got your questions to answer. And already you guys might have started to do some research to know, like, okay, how can I narrow this? What are the issues here that I need to ask questions about? So you guys might have already started researching, even just doing this proposal. That's awesome. Fourth thing you're going to do, working thesis. So same-sex parents should be able to adopt in Montana because children need homes, and to prevent same-sex couples from being parents is discriminatory. I kind of stumbled reading that. But you guys get the gist. For this one, I would know this is what I want to argue. This is my working thesis, which doesn't mean it's complete, right? I might come across a compelling counter argument, or I might come across reasons that I think are even stronger, right? Because just looking at that thesis, there's two reasons there. But for a good thesis, we really want to hit our 3 claims in our 3 body paragraphs. Okay, example 2, same thing, but I'm going to go over it with you guys. Broad topic, honeybee extinction, which Sammy was one of Sammy's topics. I really want someone to write about it because I want to learn more about it. I'm sort of selfish that way with your guys' topics. Honeybee extinction, broad topic. Narrow topic, I've put it in a form of a question. What measures, I guess it's not a question, what measures we can take to prevent honeybee extinction, question mark. I might say, because I want you guys to keep these locally relevant, I want you to say what measures can we as Montanans take to prevent honeybee extinction? So we've got a little bit more narrow. This person's going to be arguing we need to do this, 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 and this in Montana. Questions to answer. Things I need to know before I can even start rattling my mouth off about honeybee extinction. Are bees really at risk for extinction? Like, just how bad is the problem? What are the causes of this problem? I might say what are possible solutions that people are throwing out there too. What role do honeybees play in Montana's economy and environment? And what needs to be done to stop the bee population's decline? So a lot of good questions that I need to find out before I can take a stance. Working thesis for this one. We need to act to prevent honeybee extinction. So I have that. That's going to be my overall persuasive approach. We need to act to prevent honeybee extinction. But I need to do more research to determine what exactly needs to be done, because I don't know yet. I have some good questions, but I'm early in the process. That working thesis is going to need a lot of work as I go, which is totally normal. So I've gone over that with you guys. Now in the second, you'll see that you are going to do the same thing. You're going to pick a broad topic. You're going to narrow it. So think about how you might pick, if you're looking at suicide in Montana, you might say, you've got your Montana, so that's pretty specific, a specific component already. You might say teen suicide in Montana, or how to prevent teen suicide in Montana. Because remember, this is an argument. So no one's going to argue like suicide is great, suicide is awesome, right? It's not a side where there's a pro or a con. So in that case, your argument is going to be more nuanced. So you might come at it like, what do we need to do to prevent this? And then 5 questions you anticipate answering as you research. And actually, I'm going to change that to 6 because I had at least 6 in my examples and I could have gone deeper, right? I really want you guys to think about it. The more you're thinking about it, the stronger these papers will be. You don't have to know the answers yet, but you should have done enough preliminary research to know what questions you need to ask. So once you finish those, your last thing is to come up with a working thesis. Working meaning a work in progress. So what do you plan on arguing? Is it an issue with pro-con sides? If not, what action needs to be taken about your topic or issue? What needs to happen? What do we need to do, and who needs to do those things? Who needs to be involved? So remember, again, you guys can and should always come back and change your thesis as you go. You might start out somewhere. Your paragraphs that you write might be a really compelling argument, but they don't match your thesis at all. It's really easy to just go back to the thesis and change it. Okay, and I have included some possible topics on this post as well if you're really struggling. But I'm really excited to see what you guys come up with. These are due Tuesday, 3/31, this upcoming Tuesday by noon. So make sure you get your TED Talk topics in on that discussion question so I can respond to you, give you some very basic feedback. And then once you have an idea of a topic you want to go with, go ahead and get the TED Talk proposal. Get that done. Get it to me. I'll get it back to you guys as soon as I can. Okay. Miss you guys. Miss your little faces and all the weird things you say. Don't be like Birdie. Get out and get exercise, which she's actually going to do now. But you can see she goes a little stir crazy. So good advice for us all. All right. See you guys.